What's going on, everybody? Bobby Thigh, Eric Sheethaber. We're going to be talking through this NBA 5-game slate. Had a nice night last night. Not nothing special, but cashed in the big one on which I only played one big one on FanDuel. Had some kind of fun stuff for a little while in the lottery, but as you know, it takes the perfect thing to get there. And how about the lottery being won without a 3K guy who was chalk and who put up 53 fantasy points?
What?
That's unbelievable. Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, he won it without him. And now he didn't have anywhere near the optimal lineup. He probably could have scored another 100 points, but pretty incredible just how these things work and just how that works out, because I could not believe like that. And I had to go double check for myself, and everybody else in the top 100 basically had the guy. It's just he somehow built a lineup without that guy and still got there. So that was pretty wild. Sheets, talk a little bit about yours tonight, and then we'll just jump into this.
Yeah, I played too much Garrison Matthews. That was my
downfall.
That was my mistake. But I'm ready to get after it today. I mean, we're looking. I mean, right now we have one guy with like a 400,000x projection.
Yep.
And we'll have to deal with that. It's a very compact slate. And I guess we'll just go game by game, right?
Yeah, let's do it. We'll go game by game, and yeah, I think that there might be news tonight. There's been a lot of games this week, so we'll see. But as of right now, there's not as many, at least Q tags to deal with early in the day as there usually is. So that's nice, but that also means they haven't done their morning shoot around yet, and probably after shoot around we'll see some more stuff. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about Phoenix in Washington.
Yeah, I'm getting right now a actually quite a bit of decent plays out of the Phoenix side. So the way the slate looks is, listen, we have Jalen Williams. It's like 8x projection on OKC, and after him, like everybody else I have is like 6x or below, and so we're going to be fighting for those kind of next spots. Grayson Allen I have at 4,200, projecting pretty well. He's getting some ownership also. Tyus Jones looks frighteningly cheap at 4,300, unless like he's like really out of the rotation now. I got Durant himself at 9,200, looks pretty good, and Booker also. Plumlee 4,100. I mean, these guys all look very, very decent, and I'm not getting anything from Washington until like a little further down on the list, where my two best values are Carrington, and then to a lesser extent Kuzma. Kuzma the other day, he had a pretty good day the other day at around this price. So if you do want to play, hope Washington keeps this close, you play maybe Kuzma and then a couple of those Phoenix guys.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I mean, Bradley Beal is out and Kevin Durant is going back home, so he is my slight preference. He's from the DC area, so I like Kevin Durant. I like Devin Booker as my. And by the way, my weird little strange revenge thing with DiVincenzo, I ended up throwing in some DiVincenzo with last night against Golden State. He put up like 50,
Wow.
Which was just like sort of out of the blue. So that was kind of a funny one to have at 1%. Anyway, Kevin Durant is my main one. Devin Booker is my number 2 from Phoenix. Number 3 would probably be Tyus Jones, then Grayson Allen. Somewhere you can flip-flop those two. And then Plumlee, assuming that we don't get, we don't, as of right now, that Nick Richards is not with the team. There is a chance I saw that he could become with the team and somehow get cleared, but I don't think it's likely. So that might change a little bit of the Plumlee stuff, and then we'd have to try to figure out what to do with that. The Washington side, I actually do. I am getting to a lot more of it than the field in my first runs. I didn't change anything. Just the Sims really liked it. Jordan Poole, but I think that for me it'd be Kuzma, maybe just because the pricing ahead of Poole a little bit, but they're pretty close. And then if I had to pick another one, I think Koulibaly's come down to a price we can afford him at, and I think Carrington is in play as well as Sarr. So actually, this game has a lot of interest for me right off the bat. And it's an interesting slate because you've got the giant break where what happens in the first games before you go to the late games. So I'd like to try to find a way to get around it, but as of right now, this game is pretty heavy owned by me at least. All right, then we go over to the team with the questionable tags, and that is the Indiana and Detroit game. Indiana's got a bunch of Q tags on them.
Yeah. It looks like Halliburton still questionable. That's the story.
Yeah, and I think he must have been a legit, because like he didn't play the other night. I think he probably plays. He usually does tend to go through it. And by the way, probably a pretty good play if he does play. It's just a little bit hard to know. It's hard to speculate right now because he did miss a big game against Indiana at home, against Cleveland at home. So I'm guessing that they're trying to be cautious with him for a good reason. And they've been red hot until that game. So as of right now, I think he's going to play, but I don't feel certain about it.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, I'm getting once again Jalen Duran 5,400 always seems to show up. Isaiah, and then on the other hand, you have Isaiah Stewart at 3,300. I mean, it doesn't look that great, but again, like I said, after the Jalen Williams, it's like a whole bunch of sub 6x guys. Indiana. Again, let's just see. Let's see if he's out or not. If he's out, then all these guys are going to show up. So it's kind of useless right now.
Yeah, it's as of right now. What I would get to is if he's available. Well, if he's not available, I would play Siakam. If he is available, I still might play Siakam. And I think that he's a great. I think just like there's a lot of different ways to run. Some stuff in this slate. I think Halliburton and Cunningham is a way to spend money also. If you can get those two guys, there may just be enough value to get in one of the Phoenix guys. I think that's sort of your spend up core. Like it seems like at least part of it, it could be. I think Cunningham is totally legitimate here, and he's been great. Detroit's been great in real life. They're just winning games. It's a totally different. I guess they're following the Lions procedure, but they've been really good. So. I actually think Asar Thompson would be my favorite of the Detroits, but I don't mind the Cunningham and Halliburton idea. And Tobias Harris as reasonable chalk here, more productive numbers wise with this team. So I'm okay with Tobias Harris, but nothing that quite looks like a priority, and nothing that I'm going to write off right now. That's where I sort of stand on this one. Cleveland and OKC.
Yeah. So what's the story here? Why is Jalen Williams the cover boy today?
Because there's no Isaiah Hartenstein and obviously no Chet Holmgren, and they're playing a team that plays 2 7-footers or two big guys, 2 6-10ers.
Well, let's take a look. So this is going to be one of those where the 40% ownership is a pipe dream. That's the
I think it's going to be a lot higher than that. Yeah.
That's what I mean, yeah. I mean, I do only have him projected at 24 minutes. I guess that's enough. That's the story.
I mean, it's just 24 minutes at 3,300 is pretty solid. If he doesn't start, I would keep an eye out. And I guess look, it's hard to play against Allen and Mobley when you can't put like 2 6'8" wings on them and expect that to work. And this is a good matchup that the Thunder are actually favored in. So it's actually very confusing. And this is, these are the 2 best teams in the NBA. So far this year, it's not even really up for debate. It's just that they are. So would they let Jalen Williams play that many minutes in this situation? I don't know. But it is strange because they will rotate guys. They'll play it. They'll throw a lot of bodies at them, but they don't have a lot of big bodies. Kenrich Williams would be the other one who I think could be the benefactor that you could get at lower ownership off the bench. So that's what I got. But as of right now, I think that I'm probably just going to eat the Williams chalk, assuming that he does in fact start.
Any other OKCs? Like I see Dort looks pretty good at 4K. Kenrich Williams 3,100. I guess I'm not really seeing much on the Cleveland side. I guess except for Jared Allen, I suppose.
Yeah, Jared Allen, didn't he just put up like 700 fantasy points against these guys the other night? Is he like the most under projected guy? I mean, maybe not under projected, but yeah, he put up 57 in the last time they played last week. Just feels like he gets to that huge number quite often these days. I like this game because I like competitive games where you actually get the best effort from each team, and you will definitely have that in this game. To me, that means Donovan Mitchell. Now, I know I mentioned some other spend ups. I have Mitchell ahead of Halliburton, and I have Mitchell ahead of Cunningham. I know it's a different price and behind the Phoenix guys, but I do like Mitchell. And I think that if you're not playing Mitchell, playing Garland makes a little bit of sense. Garland's been terrific, and I think then one of the bigs. This is one of these games where so if I had to rank it, I guess I would say probably Mobley, Mitchell, Allen, some form of those three, then Garland for my interest level. But I think you got to give these guys an extra tick up, and I because of that, and I think the field will see this as well. It's also a decent matchup because Cleveland plays fast. Shea, I think, is you pick one of Shea or Jalen Williams, Jalen not with a Y Williams, to go with the Jalen with a Y Williams, and that seems like a pretty good way to build to me. I'm just throwing out, I'm deciding between all these spend ups. I still have Phoenix guys number one, but I do think that Shea would be probably the next most logical spend up, followed by Cunningham, followed by Halliburton if he plays.
Speaking of teams that are not putting up good efforts, boy, that was some performance by Brooklyn last night, huh?
How about they were up by 7, right? Like 28-21, and the next thing you know, it was 93-38. I mean, that's impossible in an NBA game, right?
These teams are really. Sometimes the product is not the greatest. They're putting out
77-10 run though. I mean, you don't see that every day.
That's like the only time I see that is like in AAU. It's like
right, exactly.
Usually it happens to my teams. Yeah. So speaking of that, so the good news for them is that the normal issues that you would have with playing guys on back-to-back are kind of eliminated. I imagine nobody played in the fourth quarter. That was relevant for the Clippers.
Oh, for the Clippers, yeah.
So not worried too much about that. I'm getting all these Portland guys. I mean, like Banton, almost 6x. You have Shaden Sharp. You got DeAndre Ayton, Scoot. Oh, Scoot. The days of the 4,100 are gone apparently. For Scoot Henderson. Yeah. They moved him up to 5,800. All those guys look good, and the best. And then for the Clippers, again, just cheapos like Chris Dunn, Amir Coffey, Zubac looks good. So I'm really curious what I actually get to when I run this stuff. And now I'm cheating because I just ran it in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the Portland guys look like good values. You know how I feel about that team, but we can't worry about that.
Yeah, and it's a terrible matchup. The Clippers just don't play as fast, and they actually play pretty good defense. Now, tonight, for what it's also they did have Kawhi in last night. He won't play tonight. So that was another thing that why you'd see a little bit of an uptick. I think Harden belongs in that conversation, but I have him just a little bit behind the other guys. I just want to point out that Zubac basically, so every game that's not been a blowout, these are his numbers for the last 10. Which means that he played 30 minutes or more. So every game that's not a blowout, 52, 54, 49, 49, 44, 56, 40, 52. Those are every non-blowout game. So if this game stays close, Zubac is pretty clearly a terrific play. So he would be my favorite piece of the Clippers. Currently, in my first builds at 42% of them. Chris Dunn is a potential additional source for value, but the Portland value, I think Banton, you just gotta eat it. He's 3,300. He's 3K flat. There's no Klingon, Avdia, Williams, Grant, Thibault. Now most of those have been there except for Avdia. It might be a little bit of a reach on the current projection of Banton, but if we really think this is a real number at 7.6x. I think that's a little bit high. So maybe you don't just have to eat it. But I do like Banton for what it's worth. I just don't know that I didn't have as much as maybe it's projecting for. And then the DeAndre Ayton play that I never like. I'm probably not going to like it tonight. I think Kamara, Banton, and then Scoot. They raised his price a ton. I don't know if we can count on him to make 700 shots in a row like he did the other night. A contrarian play I do like is Shaden Sharp, but that's mostly this game. I'm not outside of Zubac and Banton. I'm not really as excited about the rest of it. even though there are definitely some plays in there you could consider.
Yeah, I mean, you're a contrarian play, Shaden Sharp. I'm currently getting 98.4% of. So,
oh wow, well maybe I'm not so contrarian.
Maybe not. And I'm getting like I'm not as bullish on the Banton projection. Maybe as I have like at 17 or something.
Yeah, and you're higher on the Shaden Sharp projections. That makes a little bit of sense. Yeah. If I moved him to your number, and by the way, this might be like Shaden Sharp is a guy who, like, and we could talk about it a little bit more on these smaller slates, but he's got a massive like ability. It's just he's trying to find out like sort of who he is. They're playing him plenty of minutes. 35 for a median, which is the average is what you've got him at. That field might be a little bit up there, but I don't think it's that far from where he should be. And somewhere between 30 and 35 should be a median number, but he's going to have plenty of 45s in there. Yeah. Hey, look, if you're getting 98% of it, maybe it is a contrarian play that it likes, because I don't think he's going to get a ton of ownership.
I mean, like I said, it's not the greatest matchup in the world.
They did lose Abdia though, so people might flock a little bit. And I'm just curious. It seems like the Saber Sim. It seems like your projections gave all the love to Sharp, and Saber Sim gave all the Abdia love to Banton. And I guess we'll see which one wins out. I think Sharp is obviously the more logical play, but Banton, if we really think he's going to play 25 minutes at 3K, I think that he's hard to ignore.
Portland has the lowest team total of all the teams on the slate, by the way.
Yeah, it's a terrible matchup against the Clippers, and at least you get the back-to-back factor, though. Even though I know they didn't play the fourth quarter, back-to-back and travel, maybe they can keep this one close. Good job, by the way. Ty Lue is a terrific coach. I don't want to hear anything bad about him. That team has no business without Kawhi being like the fifth team in the West in an incredibly loaded West this year, with just Harden and Zubac basically and a bunch of pieces that no one wanted. Pretty incredible. Anyway. And Norman Powell. All right. Houston in Sacramento. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not currently getting much of anything from this.
Something's happening here. Somebody's sitting for Houston. There's no way Sacramento in any world should be favored over Houston, even at home on a back-to-back. I just don't see it. I think there's no way someone doesn't sit for Houston, in my opinion, based on these lines. Houston's basically been the fourth best team in the NBA this season. Why would they be underdogs? I know Sacramento's been hot and they're good at home historically, but this feels weird to me. So this is one I think that we're going to have to we'll see. If anybody gets announced questionable, I think you probably put them closer to doubtful. Because I do not understand this one. And I also think the total should be higher too, but I guess the back-to-back fake factors in a little bit, but I don't know. Well, assuming that, until we find anything else out more, I think the one guy who shows up is Şengün for me. And then Sacramento, it's not a great matchup, but Sabonis has been awesome, and I have no issue with Sabonis and Fox. Those would be the main ones. But as of right now, nothing really showing up. But I bet you we get some news during the day that somebody from Houston is either questionable or out. Just based on the spread. And by the way, if we don't before lock, I'm willing to take a little bit of a gamble and just sort of play extra Houston guys. Because you're going to play you've got the Portland value potentially anyway there. You've got Zubac in that. So you can find some mix and matches. I think that'll work. I haven't tried to build like that yet, but the main ones for me are going to be the Phoenix guys. I think you can play them together completely tonight against Washington. I really like the Zubac play. I'm just looking at my exposures. Jalen Williams, obviously with the Y, and then Donovan Mitchell. I'm getting 58% of right now without adjusting anything, just running the Sims, and I don't mind that against. He plays. He's a totally different guy in these competitive games, and Cleveland just doesn't play in a lot of competitive games because they beat everybody so easily. So we'll be live at 6 to go over the rest of it. It's going to be interesting. I will do my late swap in the Discord again. Just share my screen, and I know people are still getting used to the voice activation thing and how it works or whatever. If anybody has any problems with it today, let Goldie know. He's good at helping out with it. I can help out as well. But I'm going to continue to try to do that so we can keep just for our site members, we'll do some late swap stuff. And not many people were there the last couple nights, but the ones that were got some, I think, good advice because we made some positive late swaps. Let's put it that way. All right, and then Sheets, I'm going to be on Saturday. I'm planning to go live sometime, whether who's ever there or not, just for football. I don't know which time yet. I was just gonna,
Saturday, you said?
Yeah, I thought I'd just mention it to you if you're around. I don't know. I was trying to figure out what a good time would be. The games are not till 4:30 Eastern, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'll probably do Sunday as well, but I don't have the schedule figured out. But if we can find a time that works together, great. If not, I'll be live, and we'll try and talk to Rhodey about going live with me as well.
Great.
All right. Good luck to everyone today, and good morning to Eric Johnson, and good luck to everyone.